Elise, thank you. Governor Evers in Menasha today and elsewhere in the area touring the damaged sites, making stops at the UW-Fox Campus Volunteer Center. He also saw Geoghan Elementary School and more, meeting with those impacted by the storm and the local officials working to restore things. Ashley Robinson joins us live with details. Ashley?
This afternoon, Governor Evers was here at the UW-Fox Donation Center, where he saw up close how Menasha is coming together during this challenging time. Evers also visited Geoghan Elementary School, which took a hard hit during Monday's storm. As he walked the grounds, he spoke with local officials about recovery efforts. He doesn't know yet when emergency funding will be available, but he said the attitude of residents in the Fox Valley is giving him hope.
Our folks from emergency management and the National Guard are going to be helpful, and obviously the locals are doing an outstanding job, and so it's a bad situation, but I can say that from what I've seen with the energy here with the people that are going out and helping other people, it's well organized and it's working.
Evers also said that by requesting the National Guard earlier today, residents can expect to receive help with logistics, traffic control, and debris management. Reporting live in Menasha, Ashley Robinson, Action 2 News.